So let me give you a few elements about the recent events concerning UNIFIL. This morning, 2 Indonesian peacekeepers lost their lives in an explosion that hit a UNIFIL logistic convoy, destroying their vehicle near Bani Hayan in Sector East. 2 more peacekeepers were injured, 1 seriously. The origin of the explosion has not been determined. Yesterday, a peacekeeper of the Indonesian contingent was killed in an explosion inside the UNIFIL base in Et Taib, also in Sector East. Another peacekeeper was critically wounded and was evacuated to a hospital in Beirut. I express my deepest condolences to the families of the fallen peacekeepers and the government of Indonesia, and I wish a full recovery to those injured. We strongly condemn these unacceptable incidents, and peacekeepers must never be a target. UNIFIL is investigating these incidents to determine the circumstances of these tragic developments. We also remain seriously concerned about several aggressive incidents against UNIFIL peacekeepers in the past couple of days. All acts that endanger the peacekeepers must stop, and all actors must adhere to their obligations to ensure the safety and security of the peacekeepers at all times. The inviolability of United Nations installations must be respected. Our peacekeepers remain on the ground, carrying out Security Council mandated tasks in these extremely dangerous conditions. You can imagine that they are constrained in what they do, but they continue to do whatever is possible for them to do. The women and men of UNIFIL demonstrate utmost courage and commitment to advancing international peace and security far away from home, and of course we express our deepest appreciation to them. I reiterate the Secretary General's appeal to all sides to cease the fighting. Only the full implementation of Security Council Resolution 1701 by both parties will enable a long-term solution to the conflict. That's it from me, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now open the floor for questions. Yes, Nabil.
Mr. Lacroix, are we now, is this a full-scale invasion, Israeli invasion in southern Lebanon? How would you describe the situation on the ground? And a lot of people in Lebanon are concerned that Gaza scenario maybe will be repeated in Lebanon, at least on the humanitarian level. Do you see any similar similarity between the tactics between destroying homes and properties and villages and what happened in Gaza? And my second question is about the situation on the Syrian-Lebanese border, because the Israeli forces posted yesterday videos and pictures about an operation that they crossed the borders from Syria to Lebanon. What's the impact of this new maybe situation on your operations in Golan and in Lebanon?
Thank you very much. What we have seen clearly is an increased presence of the IDF, together with the strikes, of course, in different parts of Lebanon. Now, it's difficult for me to speculate on the final intent because I cannot speak on behalf of the Israeli authorities, the IDF, certainly. I wouldn't pretend to do this, but based on what we're seeing, as well as several statements emanating from the Israeli authorities, and also the orders for evacuation of civilians, it certainly looks like we might end up with, I would call it an expanded buffer zone in southern Lebanon. Now, what width, what breadth, what size, all of this, of course, is very difficult to assess. And again, it's for the Israeli to talk about what their intent is. level of destruction, of course, was already significant even before the beginning of hostilities. I mean, I toured the Blue Line in January, and as you know, I mean, there's really a string of devastated villages with, even at this moment, very few civilians left. The humanitarian consequences, of course, are dramatic, but I should point out that in the UNIFIL area of operation, UNIFIL has continued to the best of their ability, and given the constraint, again, as a result of the current sort of kinetic operation going on, but they have continued to conduct regularly operations for humanitarian assistance, particularly to support the population that are left in the UNIFIL area of population. As you know, there are a number of villages where population has remained. There are also a number of movement that were basically movement of civilians who wished to, who had wanted to leave the area of operation that have been facilitated and supported by UNIFIL in conjunction with the Lebanese armed forces. Now, in terms of the what happened at the Syrian-Lebanese border, I mean, we have no specific information. As you know, it's beyond the UNIFIL area of operation. But as you've seen, I mean, the reach of Israeli operation has gone beyond the southern Litani sector because of the strikes, and in the Bekaa, in southern Beirut, and in other places in Lebanon. But that's all I can say really regarding the what happened at the Syrian-Lebanese border. Is obviously also an area of concern.
Okay, Farnoosh, and then Ibtisam.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this briefing with us. I wanted to ask, do you have a total number of UNIFIL peacekeepers that have been killed since the operation started?
Well, we had since the new the recent hostility started. We've had 3 peacekeepers killed, actually. So then, I mean, these are the deaths that happened yesterday and today. In addition to injured peacekeepers, I mean, you would recall the incident that resulted in one Ghanaian peacekeeper quite severely injured. We visited him, Secretary General, myself. I was there in the hospital in Beirut, and today we have, I should say, 2 from the report I have, severely injured peacekeeper, one yesterday, Indonesia, today another one. So obviously we wish for a full recovery of these peacekeepers.
I mean, since UNIFIL began its operations.
Oh, well, that's a different. Well, we can provide you with the exact number. I don't have them in front of me, but I can provide.
I believe the UNIFIL website does have the numbers from the start,
Absolutely.
since the start of its deployment in the 1970s.
Okay,
If you look
thank
at the website. Ibtisam.
Thank you. My name is Ibtisam Azim, Al Arab Al Jadid newspaper. Could you clarify why can't you, or are you investigating the incidents from yesterday to know where the fire and came from?
Yeah. We do, as always, of course, investigate. Now, we cannot confirm anything at this point. What I heard from the force commander, the explosion that occurred yesterday in the position occupied by the Indonesian was a result of a shell. Is it mortar? Is it artillery? And who? What is the provenance? We cannot tell at this stage. And similarly today, the convoy in the explosion that affected the convoy, resulting in the killing of 2 Indonesians, we cannot tell. Is it an ID? Is it, as a result of the shelling? It's just too early to tell, but I can tell you that, of course, we do investigate all these incidents. Perhaps I could sort of elaborate a little further beyond the question that you're asking. Obviously, it is very traumatic to our peacekeepers. It's a serious concern to all of us. The troop and police, in that case, the troop contributing countries to UNIFIL have so far demonstrated a very strong level of commitment and unity. And of course, we will do everything possible so that this level of unity, commitment, preserving what I call a team UNIFIL, Secretariat, UNIFIL, and the troop contributing countries, that we preserve this unity of purpose. This is a Security Council mandated operation. We have a duty to stay. Of course, the ability to operate is constrained today, but the mandate remains, and also the perspective of ultimately reaching a political solution, which is the only way in which we believe, the Secretary General has repeated that time and again, and more recently in Lebanon, it's the only way in which a durable, sustainable solution can be found for Lebanon and the region.
Can I follow up quickly on your other answer when my colleague Nabil asked you about whether you see the Israeli presence as invasion, and you said you don't want to talk about, you're not in the position to talk about intentions, but you still talked about what you called, we could get to expanded buffer zone. But isn't this actually Israeli terminology to talk about occupying part of southern Lebanon as a buffer zone?
I mean, what I can say is two things. What we observe on the ground, again, significantly increased presence. The sense that, and again, I mean, here I'm referring also to what we hear from the Israeli authorities, that it's leading up to buffer zone. To the best of my knowledge, the terminology buffer zone was not used by the Israeli authority. Again, I cannot speak for them prior to these operations. Now, again, how much, how far, how thick, it's very difficult to speculate. And again, I cannot tell about the intent myself. What we can say, though, is that we're based on Resolution 1701. Right, UNIFIL has this mandate, and Resolution 1701 is also the political platform on which the durable solution of that situation is meant to be achieved. So, based on Resolution 1701 and international law, I mean, it's clear that we have many violations. We have violations in terms of the strikes from south to north, also from north to south. We obviously have the presence of the IDF in Lebanon, which constitute a violation itself, and all the attacks against peacekeepers, similarly violations. So we have a multiplicity of violations of Resolution 1701. We, again, our appeal will be, as far as we're concerned, of course, recalling to the parties their obligations vis-à-vis peacekeepers UNIFIL. The broader appeal, which is the one that was again repeated by our Secretary General, is there cannot be a military solution. There has to be a political solution. The framework is there for a political solution. It's Resolution 1701, to which all the parties are still committed to the best of what we hear from them. The Lebanese government has made a number of very bold decisions lately. I will not elaborate on that. You are totally aware of those. And therefore, from the bigger perspective, we are really appealing for cessation of hostilities and the resumption of a dialogue leading to the implementation of Resolution 1701.
Thanks. Linda?
Thank you, Farhan. Mr. Lacroix, can you just elaborate a little bit in terms of the withdrawal of UNIFIL from the area, I gather by the end of the year?
Right. The mandate of UNIFIL will end on the 31st of December this year, right? And as you know, the Security Council has requested us to come to the Council with recommendation as to the UN presence post-UNIFIL to support the implementation of Resolution 1701. That is, I'm sort of paraphrasing the Security Council. We've been working on that. We have listened to the parties. We have listened to the Lebanese and, of course, the host government and what they want. We also talked to the Israeli and to a number of stakeholders. I think it's clear from the Lebanese point of view that they're interested in keeping a UN presence post UNIFIL. We again have to listen more specifically, of course, to the concern of and the objectives of the host country. Now, that work is quite advanced, but at the same time, we'll have to look at what the what will be the new sort of dispensation that will result of the current hostilities, and that is not clear. But if I look at the request from the Security Council, I mean, the implication of that request is that Resolution 1701 would not have been, the implementation of it would not have been completed by the end of this year, which I believe is a very likely scenario. So the question is more broadly, what can we do as UN? What can the international community do to support these objectives? Again, based on the premise that we keep repeating that there's only one solution, it's a political solution based on the implementation of Resolution 1701. I believe that the UN continues to have an important role to play. Of course, there's a political role played by a coordinator, Ms. Hedis Plachette. We have, of course, our humanitarian colleagues, the country team, and UNIFIL until the end of the year, and then what can be most helpful to support the objective of furthering implementation of Resolution 1701, in addition to the bilateral support, other forms of support to the international community. One important aspect is support or increased support to the Lebanese armed forces. There are other aspects, of course, that are also relevant.
Okay, we'll go to Ephraim online and then to Dulcie.
Thank you so much. Just a quick follow-up on this last question. What can the UN do to support them? What that support looks like? It's not very clear from the answer. If you can elaborate, please,
Sure.
Mr. Lacroix. Thank you.
I mean, we, in the current context of hostilities, then, what we can do and what we do is threefold. First, the political support and appeal towards a ceasefire and a political solution. And the messages that were conveyed by our Secretary General in Lebanon were very much along these lines. So that's number one. Number two, the humanitarian support in many ways. I talked about what our UNIFIL colleagues do to support the civilians who remained in the south of Litani region. But of course, there's much more that is currently done by the UN with the agencies, given the number of displaced persons in Lebanon, in addition to the many refugees there. So there's a very significant humanitarian operation. And then third, what can we do as today UNIFIL, tomorrow, if anything, a remaining presence of a military nature, military observers, and perhaps several other type of military capacity to support the LAF, the Lebanese authorities, in the implementation of Resolution 1701. Now, all of this, of course, the letter is premised under the assumption that ultimately we will have to resume, there will have to be a process resumed, political one, to implement Resolution 1701. Again, we strongly believe that there's no military solution, that the Lebanese authorities have to be supported in their firm intention as stated by, or as reflected rather by the various decisions that the government made recently to implement Resolution 1701. They need to be supported to that effect, so that, again, we reach a political solution where the security interests of Lebanon, the security interests of Israel as well, will be taken care of and respected.
Okay, Dulcie.
Thanks very much. I just want to clarify, so how many, one peacekeeper was killed yesterday and one was injured, is that right, in the attack?
Yesterday, right, one Indonesian peacekeepers killed yesterday and one injured, And today, unfortunately, 2 other Indonesian peacekeepers killed and 1 at least severely injured. Yes.
So the announcement says that their vehicle was destroyed. What type of vehicle were they in?
We can provide you with more on this one, I would assume, but then again, that they were in an armored, probably an APC, armored personal carrier, but I don't have the specifics. We can provide you.
So it was a roadside bomb?
We can't tell. I mean, it can be a roadside bomb, can be an ID, it can be a strike. At this stage, we were investigating, but at this stage, I can't.
And have you been in touch with the IDF regarding this attack?
We are in touch with all the parties on a regular basis. The force commander is in touch with the IDF, almost every hour. I mean, that's what he told me. He is in touch with the Lebanese armed forces as well. We're in touch with of course, we're in touch with troop contributing countries. We are in contact with the Indonesian. Of course, I convey to them our condolences and our solidarity, and we're informing them as well about what is being done for the deceased peacekeepers and the injured. So yes, absolutely. I mean, I should say that the liaison with the IDF is constant. Which enables UNIFIL to deconflict a number of movement, for example, for the resupply position or for support to the civilian population in the area.
Okay, yes, Linda.
Is there also a permanent liaison with, I'm sorry. Is there also a permanent liaison with Hezbollah?
No, we liaise with the LAF, the Lebanese Armed Forces, and the IDF.
Okay. I see no further questions, so I would like once more to thank our guest, Undersecretary General for Peace Operations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, and we would also like to express our condolences to the family members and to the government of Indonesia for their losses over these last days. And we'll try to keep you posted on these developments as they proceed. Thanks very much.
Terima kasih telah menyaksikan informasi kami hari ini. Terus ikuti informasi terbaru hanya di infoku.id.